Katie. So if you have been following along with this channel, you would know that very recently I got back from New York City. That trip was amazing. You can watch all of the vlogs somewhere on here. I'll put a link. And I got back very recently, but while I was away, I got heaps of questions from you guys about what it's like to travel by yourself. So I thought I would do a little Q&A and answer all those questions. I asked you guys on my Instagram and my Twitter, as well as my Facebook, I think. All those links are down in the description if there's a future Q&A and you want to ask some questions. So let's get into it. I'm going to start on Instagram, and I have a question from Sam. So it says, how do you decide on what locations and venues to visit within a city, and what has been your most awkward experience so far with this trip? Two different questions. Okay, so the first one, how do you decide on what locations and venues to visit within a city? I like to do lots of research before I go to see what would be the best to go to. So I like to do some touristy things, but also some parts that not everybody might go to. And also I just look at what I'm passionate about. So I love looking at behind the scenes and filmmaking, musicals, everything. So I found that there was an NBC studio tour, so you go behind the scenes and see how they create their TV shows, and I thought that would be perfect for me. So I kind of just go by what I really enjoy doing. And what has been your most awkward experience so far this trip? I don't think there's been one specifically. There's probably been a few. I'll remember at some point and keep you updated. Maybe just vlogging in public. Maybe that. And this one is from D_Joseph24. How are you able to minimize the effects on jet lag when you travel alone? This is a great question. So this doesn't even have to do with just traveling alone. This is general traveling. Jet lag is something that happens to everybody. If you're not sure what jet lag is, it's like the way that your body tries to adjust or doesn't adjust when you go to different time zones. So when I flew to LA, I got to the airport earlier than I left Sydney airport on the same day because of the time difference. But then when I came back, I lost an entire day. So your brain is like, what the heck is happening? So the way I deal with it, I just try my best. So some people will recommend that while you're on the plane, you can line up your sleep schedule with the destination's time zone. I don't really do that. I just kind of try and push through. So this time I was able to adjust to LA time very, very quickly by just literally staying awake as long as I could until the night. I think I went to bed at like 9 or 10 p.m. and it was amazing. And then the next day I was able to adjust completely because I had a full night's sleep. Other times are a little bit trickier. So it would just be like, take your time, relax a little bit, and just take care of yourself. And the second question is, when you're on a plane, especially on long haul flights, do you sleep and rest, or do you watch shows, movies on the airline's in-flight entertainment system? I do a little bit of both. I am not a big sleeper on planes. I try to get as much sleep as possible, but it's usually like an hour or two. The flight from Sydney to LA is 14 hours, sometimes 15, so you've got lots of time to just chill. I usually just, I think this time on my way home, I watched 3 episodes of The Office, and then I literally just sat there. Just had time to relax, you know? There's a little flight tracker map that's on your plane, and you can always watch like where the plane is going to, how long to the destination, what time is the destination. That's usually what I watch for like 12 hours. So on and off, I'll listen to music and then be able to look at the little tracker, look out the window, that sort of stuff. Sometimes I watch movies, but I often just watch the map. This one is from Poppy.G25. What has been your favorite part, and how do you tell yourself not to buy everything? If I went, I would literally buy everything I see. Very relatable. It's hard not to buy pretty much everything because I'm in love with so much stuff, but you do have to think like, okay, do I want this or do I want to be able to eat? That's kind of how I make myself not buy things. And the first part of the question, what has been your favorite part? The entire trip was my favorite part. Seeing all the Broadway shows was an absolute dream, but I've been telling everybody my favorite part was Central Park. It's just such a beautiful place, and I got to go there when it was sunny and when it was snowing, and it was so amazing. That's my favorite part. Then on Twitter, my friend Kyra said, who took your photos for you? And this is a good question because when you're by yourself, you have to do a lot of selfies, but a lot of my photos on my Instagram when I was posting during the trip weren't selfies. For the first few days, I was with my friend Christian when we went to Disneyland and etc. So I had a personal little photographer, thanks Christian. But while I was in New York City, I had to do a lot of self-timer. So self-timer took my photos for me. My friend Desi says, I want to travel alone, but it's the loneliness that stops me. Do you ever feel lonely? And if so, how do you combat that? I've gotten asked this a few times. Do I get lonely while I'm traveling by myself? I personally don't at all. I love being by myself. I live on my own. I love traveling on my own as well. It's such an amazing feeling to be by yourself and be so independent. Of course, there are times where I'm like, oh, I wish these people are with me. So I don't know if that includes as loneliness. It doesn't feel lonely. So I've traveled by myself twice, both to the United States, and on the first day on both of them, I felt a little bit like, oh, a little bit scared, a little bit nervous, and I guess a little bit lonely. And that is just combated by just pushing through, talk to people. You can message people, you can message your friends still, you can talk to your family, FaceTime people. That's sort of what I would recommend if you are feeling lonely, but please don't let that idea stop you from going by yourself. Also, because I did a vlog every single day, I was able to talk to a camera, which I know sounds sad, but it's kind of like talking to a friend. And my queen Becky says, what are some of the biggest differences between traveling with family and traveling alone? I would definitely say the money. Because when you're with a family, you can kind of all, like, thanks mum and dad for usually paying for dinner, but I guess you could help each other out with the money with buying food mainly, so that's a big difference. And also I would say the suitcases, like the packing. When you're with other people or with your family, you can all share the weight over your bags. If it's just you, you have to fit everything in your one bag, and you have to make sure that it's under the weight as well. You can bring an extra bag. I would do that. I do that, but it's risky if your bag is too heavy. Hi, I am quickly interrupting because I am at work and I was just about to upload this video, and then I realized that I actually forgot one question. So it was from Cara, and she asked me in my YouTube comments, she said, I would love to know how your family feels about you traveling solo. And I thought no better people would be able to answer this question besides my parents. So I asked them, and this is what they said. So my mum said, my answer would be that I'm so proud of you and excited that you are doing it. I have to say that seeing your vlogs every day makes it easy though, because I know you're safe and having fun. I must admit, in your vlog when you said you walked home at night in New York, I was a little bit concerned and glad I could then see you back at the hotel safely. That's the long answer. Basically, I love that you're doing it. Which is very sweet. Thanks so much, Mum. And then Dad said, I felt a little apprehensive at first, but because you have done it with us a few times, I was confident that you would be okay. Now I'm just totally proud of you and happy for you. And the vlogs and the messages are a great comfort and a joy to watch, which is so nice. Thank you so much, Mum and Dad. And that is what they think of me traveling alone. All right, back to the actual video. And Autumn says, have you seriously, I mean seriously, considered living in New York City when you are older? Yes. 100%. I would, like, that's my dream place to live if it wasn't in Australia. I'd love to live in New York City. And Maisie says, would you ever come to Asia, or more specifically Taiwan? I would love to see you visit my homeland. I've been to Taiwan. I have family that lives in Taiwan, so my aunt, uncle and cousins live over there, so I have been there before. Hopefully get to go back as well, and maybe I'll vlog it next time I go. And finally, another question from Autumn is, do you ever get creeped out traveling alone? So I did have an answer to this, and it's not creeped out specifically, but I think this is something that a lot of people deal with. When you are by yourself, you have to be a little bit extra careful, a little bit more cautious and sensible and responsible. But there was a time when I was in LA last June, someone tried to get me to get in their car. Like, this man kept following me with their car, and I was like, okay, I need to get out of the situation. So you've just got to do what makes you comfortable. I was able to just walk out of the situation. But yeah, that did creep me out a little bit. And then more recently, when I was in New York just last week, there was some creepy men trying to, you know, talk to me a lot. When really I just wanted to go and see Hamilton. I was just standing out front of the theater. So I don't know if that's necessarily being creeped out, because it's not kind of spooky, but it's making sure I was a little bit more on guard when that sort of stuff happens. And that is something that you have to be really careful of, especially when you're by yourself. Make sure that you always have a safe place to go, or you definitely make sure you have your phone with you so there's someone you can contact. That's all the questions I'm going to be answering for today. Thank you so much to everybody who submitted their questions. I hope my answers were helpful in some way. And if you do have any more about traveling by yourself, or pretty much any question ever, let me know down in the comments, and maybe I can make another Q&A as well. And thank you so much for following along with my travel vlogs too. If you haven't watched them, make sure to check out #Caitie Bites the Big Apple, which is my New York City travel vlog series. There's 14 vlogs there for you to binge watch. Anyway, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure to give it a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye!